So I don't usually talk through instructions on my videos, but this time we're going to try something a little different. I'm not going to do a body paint. I'm actually going to do some slices, cuts, gashes with some different techniques. And I'm doing this video for my niece Brea, who has recently shown some interest in body painting and special effects works with doing an open gash on her leg with just toilet paper and cover up foundation. And what she did was pretty impressive. So the fact that you could do that with those things, girl, you need to start practicing and fiddling and seeing what you can do, because that's pretty impressive. So I told Bonnie I would do a video for her. I did not spend a lot of money when I first started out because I wanted to play with learning how to create light and shadows on your face to create specific details, I guess. So I started out actually going to the dollar store and buying just really cheap tool paint. And I would use that, and I would start on the inside of my arms painting stuff. On the outsides, saw that it wasn't giving me any kind of reaction, so continued using it on my face and body to see what it was like to try to get the shapes on a canvas that is not flat. So that is where I started. I never leave it on my skin for more than 10-20 minutes after I'm done painting, and then it's off, and it's a really deep condition cleaning after that, so that I'm not totally destroying my skin. After the acrylic paints, and I did try various acrylic paints, and this one was the smoothest. They crack, obviously, so they are not a body paint, but for a cheap way of learning on your arm or your leg, it's cheap and you will get an effect. So why not try it? From there, I moved up to Snazoo. And I don't think you can't really see them. I'll have to put something black behind it. So there. Okay, so Snazoo. Darn light. That is a really cheap face paint that you can get at Michael's craft store or order online. And it's a kid's face paint, so it's completely safe. I do find that this brand does crack after about 20 or 30 minutes of wearing it. It is not a smooth application. It does not go on evenly, but it's not bad for learning with, and it's a lot safer than the tool paints. From there, I decided I am going to splurge, and I went and got some Mehron products. So this was the first one I got. This is a cream palette. It has its good points and its bad points. This is really good for wounds, making yourself look older, making yourself look younger, contouring out your face. This is really great that way. It is not a body paint. It is a face paint. It is basically the spectrums of skin tones, which is great. But what I find with this, it does not mix well. So this is a totally different way of putting on, where you are working, adding multiple layers and blending them in rather than mixing a color and putting it on. So this takes a little bit of practice of learning how to blend these colors, and it was not an easy thing to do. Sorry, the hair on there. It was not an easy thing to do. I tried, and as you can see in this palette, actually using this one with this one, and it did not work out at all. So I cannot mix together. I have to mix up here. So that is a learning curve. But this one was $100. But it came with all the tools, sponges, a little booklet of step-by-step instructions on how to do wrinkles and age lines and stuff like that. So really and I've used this palette probably about, I don't know, 30 paints, and like hardly anything is used. This thing will last me probably a good year, maybe 2, because you don't need a whole lot. And that's the nice thing about these professional paints. You do not need a whole lot. So these ones are my color palettes. So these are water activated. Again, these are Mehron. These are water activated and beautiful colors. I got 2 palettes of these guys, and these guys were, again, between $69 and $89, and it was really depending on the color palette that you were choosing. So again, these are amazing. You do not need a lot of water. It's like a drop, and you get such vibrant color without having to do layer after layer after layer after layer. It's really great to put on. It goes on smooth. It goes on without any cracking, bubbling. It dries quickly, but not so fast that you can't do any blending with. The only thing that with this one, again, I do not like is I can't mix the colors because it's a water base. If I go into the green, into the pink or something like that and try to get them to, I'm mixing the colors right on, and then I'm losing the true pigment. And I can't mix outside on my mixing board with these because it's water. So that has its downplay, obviously. It's a little bit more, I keep having to clean after I'm done because I am mixing on them when I'm using them. As you can see with this one, I didn't get it fully clean. So I am losing some paint as I'm cleaning the mixed parts off. But still, I've done, God, I don't know, probably about 20 paints with these guys, and they're still really full. Like, they should probably be able to give me at least another 50, 60 paints before I need to refill those colors. And you can buy the individual colors by themselves for, like, I think they're $6 or $7 per individual. So you can just pop it out and put a new one in. So in the long run, you're not spending $80 every time you need another single color. You can get the individuals. Then I also picked up some pressed powder palettes. Now, these are relatively new to me. I do not use makeup pressed powder to do my body paints. That I've just started doing within the last maybe 2-3 months. Mostly because I can't do makeup. Nope. Can't do eyeshadow. I can't do that shit. It's just not in me. I don't know why, because I could paint a face, but I can't paint on my face other than with body paint. It's weird. Anyways, so these colors are just so amazing. Oh my God, they're so bright. So I did pick up 2 palettes, and I am finding that I am learning how to get some extra details in the shading with the pressed powder. You can use water with it. They say you can use water with it. I have not tried that because I'm afraid of ruining them. So I am leaving them strictly as a pressed powder, fine detailed at the end, just, little tweaks here and there. So these are going to last for a very, very long time, but they're so fun to play with. The last part of Mehron that I have not got yet, but it is on my list to get next, is they have their liquid latex paint and regular liquid paint, body paint, which is what I would prefer. And I don't know why I didn't get that in the first place. Maybe because you have to buy it by the bottle, and each bottle is like $10. So to get a full array, it's going to be pretty expensive. Now, I'm sure with the watercolors it wouldn't take very much to use, but with the liquid, then I can actually do some mixing and blending before I actually apply it to my face or my body, which would make things go a lot faster and a lot easier, because then I wouldn't have to do so many layer over layer over layer. So that being said, I will be trying that next, and I will tell you when I'm using it so you can see the difference. Now, for gashes, cuts, scrapes, stitching, zippers in the face, all that stuff, you can paint on. And that's what I started with, and that is always going to be my go-to. I prefer it. I think it is a lot easier on me, for me just to paint the zipper going down my face or paint a gash in my throat. But I have used the liquid latex, and I have used a couple of different ways with it to get certain effects, and it has its pluses huge. Very little negatives, other than the fact that it takes a very long time. It is not the fastest, which is why I prefer the painting. And if it's not done correctly, you basically have wasted a bunch of time, because it's just not going to turn out. So what I've got is from Mehron as well. Like, that light is terrible. You can't see it very well, can you? Anyways, so it's just liquid latex. It's very sticky. I only use a very specific brush with it. And when that brush is no longer viable, then I'll have to buy one specific brush for it again. Because when it dries, you cannot wash it out of your brush. It basically is in there. And that's that. Because it's like rubber. It dries like rubber. Breathable rubber, but still dries like rubber. So with liquid latex, you can get all sorts of effects. Scarring, teardrops. I've made tons of teardrops with liquid latex, and they're super easy to do. So what I'm going to do is 4 gashes. 1 in pure paint, 1 in pure latex, 1 with toilet paper and liquid latex, and 1 using this new thing that I have never used before. So this will be a learning process for me. And it's Mehron Synthetic Wax. I played with it a little bit just in my fingers, molding like earlobes and whatnot with it. It is not the easiest thing to work with. You have to really take like a chunk of it and start rolling it in your hands and warm it up, and your hands get really sticky, and then it's kind of sticking to you. It is not the easiest thing to use, but it works really well for effects. So that's something I'm still getting used to. But with a lot of body painting and stuff like that, it's trial and error. You just do it. You can make, oh, that's the last thing. So for cuts and gashes, you also need blood, which, you know, everybody's kind of queasy at. Not me. Love it. It's great. So I have 3 types of blood here. And you can make your own blood. You do not need to buy it. Never thought I'd be doing a video on this. It's hilarious. Okay, so you can make your own blood with honey and red food dye. And it's perfectly safe to digest, so you can actually put it in your mouth and let it come out. It looks like and acts like congealed blood, which is dead blood. So I did go and buy very expensive congealed blood, and I've only done 1 paint with it because it is very, very thick. So it's from Mehron as well, but it is very thick, gobby, gooey, amazing, fun stuff to play with. I do have a cheaper congealed blood, and it is one that you pour on or go on with a paintbrush, and it is, as you can see, it is not as thick, and it's kind of clear, so it doesn't really look as realistic as this one, because this one is almost like it is blood black. That's the color of it. This is kind of ruby-like, so it's going to give you that nice thickness, but it's not going to look as real. And then I have Blood Effects, and I do love this stuff. I do find it stains a little bit, so you need to be careful of where you're placing it, and you need to understand that it's not going to come off with the ease of the other two. Now this one, it does have like a little application end, and it's basically, you know, vampire bites, blah, and let it drip, and blah, and let it drip. It's a little bit smoother and thinner than the other ones because it's not supposed to represent blood that is sat for a while. It's supposed to represent very fresh blood. So and you can buy this at Halloween, cheap, at any Halloween store. I stock up. So, those are our 3 bloods. The other thing we need is toilet paper, and this is it. So, the way I'm going to do this video is I am going to explain how I do the first applications for the 2 with the liquid latex. And then when I get to the second application, I'm going to speed through it until the end. I'm only going to slow the video down for when I actually need to talk and explain something. The rest of it is going to be on fast speed because this process is going to take several hours. Okay, so I'm going to start the process out basically by getting some toilet paper. If you can get the stuff that doesn't have like all the little flowery patterns and shit like that, that's better, because you kind of want it flat, not bubbled and divoted and whatnot. And you only want 1 ply at a time. So this 3-ply stuff, you gotta pull it into 3 parts. 2-ply, you gotta pull it into 2 parts. The reason why is you're going to be doing several layers of it for one, and that'll give you the thickness that you need to create the big open gash. But the other reason, I think this is just 2-ply. The other reason is you want to try to keep this application as transparent as possible, because the more stark white it goes, the harder it's going to be to match to your natural skin tone before you can start into the gore makeup. So for just a straight liquid latex, I am just going to do a small cut. I don't think it's very good to do just latex for big gashes. It's way better for like somebody cutting you with a knife on your cheekbone. So that's where we're going to do that one. With the toilet paper and liquid latex, I'm actually going to do a gaping wound. So I'm going to actually have some skin that's flapping off. And that you can't do with just plain liquid latex. It's not going to hold. It's not going to be strong enough. So you do actually need some toilet paper in there to give you some structure and some stability. But yeah, it's going to hang open. With the synthetic wax, I am just going to try to do like a deep gash, not a wide gash. Something that would look like it was really deep and in. And with the paint, I'm just going to paint on a gash, I think, or I don't know. We'll see when we get there. Oh, and I should mention too, bullet holes are really, really easy with synthetic wax because you just take some toilet paper and you roll it and you turn it into a circle. You put it onto your skin, you paint over it, and you let it dry. You do that a couple of times and then you paint in and around and you get a perfect circle like a bullet hole with raised edges like the skin was being, you know, torn out. And they're so easy to do, but we can do bullet holes another day because I'm getting offline. Okay, so I've separated my toilet paper. I want a fairly big gash, but I don't want the entire size of the toilet paper. So I'm going to rip it down a little bit. I could use scissors to cut it, but I'm lazy and I don't like it. So I'm going to just measure. That's still really big. And take it down a little bit more. Now I am cutting it because if I rip it and it gets too small, then I'm going to have to start all over again. Let's see if that fits a little better. That'll work. When we're also doing gaping, like the skin is kind of like coming back like that, it gives you a little playroom that you can actually like do some white paint in behind kind of thing to make it look like bone is showing or whatnot, which is like super cool. And that's what I love to do. Okay, so I'm gonna grab the Mehron paint or liquid latex and my crappy little brush. Oh, took the end right off my brush. And I've already got latex like peeling and drying on my hand. That's how quick and messy this stuff can be. And it can be messy, but it's so much fun to play with too. Okay. So I'm just cleaning up near the top so I don't get old stuff on my brush. Okay, so for gouache, you really actually do want to do something fairly wide because you want the outside of the latex to really be thin and smooth right into your skin. So I'm going to put it right down here. And it is latex, so there is some fumes to it. So you need to be aware that if any work being done up near your eyes, like where I am, it is actually going to, it is actually going to sting a little bit. I'm going to do that one over. See, it's already drying. So I'm not getting, I'm going to have to shake it, I think. Oh, there we go. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you get the inside smooth, because we're going to be cutting that open anyways. You want to concentrate more on your edges. So I want to make sure that every part of the outside is so smoothed out. And you can buy tools to do that. And I do have some. They're like these little plastic shovel-y like things that smooth them out. But I find the back of your paintbrush works just as well. And this is basically also how you make scars. You just don't cut it open. Okay. So layer one, it's a little thick here. So we're just gonna have to make sure that goes and dries properly. Layer one is on. And like I said, there's fumes, so my eyes are a little stingy. It's fine, I'm used to it. So we are gonna move on to applying this. When I'm doing open wounds, gaping wounds, I do not put a layer of latex on my skin first. I put this on first and layer over it. The reason I do that is I don't really want to have to paint on the latex underneath this. When I pull it back, I want to paint on my skin. It takes the paint better, it absorbs it better, and you're able to mix it better. So that's just what I prefer. So I'm going to put this on. I've seen other people where they paint the latex on and then stick this on. And that's fine. I just didn't like that technique. I didn't like the way it felt. It felt like it was, when it was drying, it was pulling on the paper. And I didn't think that felt very good. I didn't like it. I didn't go to my thicker brush. Now I want to make sure that I'm going well past where the toilet paper is. Got it in my hair. Shit. It's not the first time it's happened. Oh, it's in my hair again. Okay. Make sure everywhere is covered. Didn't get the front corner yet. Gosh, this stuff is so thick right now. I think I need to thin it out. Maybe I need to buy newer stuff. I've had this for 2 years, this stuff, so like it's almost on its last legs. Don't like that part. Pull that off. That's fine. Spoon. Okay, so at this point I usually take a hairdryer and fully dry that. See, that one is almost already dry because it's almost completely clear. There's one little spot, like, so it's doing really well. But let's get that dry. That one's so dry and so transparent that I can hardly feel where it is, other than that little bump right there. This has got a long ways to go. So I'm going to pause while I dry this, and then we'll come back. Okay, we are completely dry. It wrinkles like skin. It's actually really, really tight. It tightened up quite a bit, so I can feel it pushing, and it's, yeah, like right there, it's pushing. So we know she's good and dry. Up here, can't even see that. And it's, where is it? It's, yeah, I can feel it right there. Can't see it. That's what you want, because you can't see any whiteness. It's completely clear. That is like the best thing you can get. So now we're on to our second layer. And like I said, this is a layer process. This takes a long time. And while you're working, your latex starts drying, and then it gets really stringy. And you constantly have to clean your brushes off because they're getting, I just broke it. They're getting stuck on stuff, because that's what latex does. It sticks. It's it's so much fun to work with. You get stuck to everything. Okay, get it off my fingers. So we're going to put our second layer on, and when we put our second layer on, unfortunately on the one on my eye, well, fortunately and unfortunately, can't really see where my edges are because it's so thin, which is exactly what I wanted. But I want to try to stay on the second go through just inside my last one, so that my edge stays near completely undetectable. So this is gonna be rather interesting to see if I can get it just inside. I gotta find it first. And this light is harsh. Okay, so I want to go in here, and I need to smooth that out. I'm just bringing it out to just at the edge of the one I did a few seconds ago. Try to keep it as smooth as possible. Where's the front? Right there, okay. It's the first time using this circle light stand thing. And granted, it wow, gives me way more light for shooting videos and stuff like that, but makes it way harder to do the actual paint because the light is just so bright in my face. Okay, so that is second layer. It's already starting to dry, so I don't want to touch it. So first layer, the edge is right here. Where my nail is, my very badly painted nail. Dina's going to kick my ass. That is the outside edge of the first one. That's the second one. And like I said, the next one I'm going to go in. The very last one's literally just going to be a very thin straight line down, and that's basically going to be where my cut line is. So now I'm going to do the second layer on this one. As you can see, we got some wrinkles happening because I'm old, and that's how your neck wrinkles. So same with this. You want to keep your edges as thin and smooth as possible. So I don't really want to do another piece of tissue that's exactly the same size. I want to go smaller. So I am going to line up the back to fit just before the edge there. And I'm just going to push it down so I'm inside the other one. Okay, other than that little corner, but that's fine. Not a big deal. And we're going to get that one stuck on. And you want to try to stretch your skin out as far as possible when you're putting on this kind of application, because it's going to give you a better effect when it dries, because this does act exactly like your skin does, which is why so many people use it, because it literally looks just like your skin when you're done, and acts the same. It wrinkles the same, it moves the same, it's breathable, believe it or not. People will walk around in this stuff forever. That's perfectly fine. If I could go to work with stuff like this, I would. It's in my hair again. I'm going to have rubber in my hair. Okay, so I pull it past really, really thin. Oops, except for that spot. So I'm going to quickly wipe it off before it dries. There we go. Because I do not want any edge out here. See how that is a line there? I need to get rid of that. So we need to smooth it out or pull it off. And I don't think it's connected, so I might be able to. Yeah. Okay. I don't want any edges on the outside, thick edges. It has to be smooth, so that you cannot see a line, because that's a dead giveaway that it's fake. Getting it all over my face. Okay, so second layer on, gotta let it dry. Again with the hair dryer, I'm going to continue the process. I'm going to do 5 layers here. I'm going to do 5 layers there. And I will see you on the 5th layer. Okay, So I've done 5 layers and we are dry in that color I'll explain. So my latex up here that goes from here to here and here to here, you can only see that little bit right there, which is perfect. So my edges come all the way out and it's completely smooth. So when I put the makeup on, it won't look like something's been put there. It will look and blend in naturally. So that's exactly what I want. Down here, as you can see with toilet paper being part of it, you don't get that see-through real skin effect. And that's fine because we don't care to have this whole thing covered to look exactly like my skin anyways, because we are going to cut this out so that it is flapping over. Now, I don't use this technique very often because I don't like how white it is, and I find it's a very time-consuming